Hi everyone, welcome. That light's blinding me. Now you're in the dark. What's going on? So I want to welcome you. I'm Jenna with Apple Dolly Creations. We're in an event. We're going to hang on just for a minute until we are put in. So let me refresh this and see about getting myself pulled up. Nope, wrong. I don't know why I can't get the two of these devices to work together. There, we're together. So as soon as I see comments, we'll get started. No, wait, that's putting too much light. I don't know. I got the same lighting as always, but I seem dark. The background seems dark. Hi, Brenda. How you doing? We're in an event, so we're going to hold off for a second until I see that I'm in. And I think I already have to go out and back. Okay, thank you, Gia. This is Creative Crafters Ensemble. This is the Strawberry Social. I am Jenna with Apple Dolly Creations. I want to welcome all of you. So I've been sitting here for hours because I still didn't know what I was going to do until like an hour ago. Nothing like waiting till the last minute, and that's me. So I've been working on two bunnies. And this is George. Now his brother Wilbur is a carrot grower, and he's a strawberry grower. And he stopped by for his basket of strawberries. So that's what we're going to do. We don't have it together for him, and we are running late on getting his basket of strawberries. So we're going to make a... Hi, Brenda. We're going to make him strawberries to go in his basket. So he's going to sit over here. Hi, Shelly. Welcome. And we're going to wait. He's going to wait on us to get his basket of strawberries ready for him because he's not together yet. He forgot his shovel. He doesn't have laces in his boots yet. And so he's just going to sit here and wait until we get him together. So we're not going to finish him. We're just doing his basket of strawberries. Since this is the Strawberry Social. Let's see if he'll sit there. I have a 3-tiered cart sitting here, and I don't know if he's going to sit there and wait on us. So we're taking, this is just, I pick these small baskets up everywhere I see them. Hi, Mimi. Thank you, Shelly, for sprinkling. Thank you, Brenda. So I pick these up everywhere. Sometimes they're damaged and I have to do some work on them. But this one is a nice size. This is the size that, yes, I did, Brenda. Yeah, I made him. So this is the size that I like because they fit really nice in these bigger dolls and stuffed animals that I make. We're going to whitewash this to start with. So I'm using Waverly chalk and sandstone. And I really watered it down. Hi, Boom. How are you? Yeah, here's the other one. This is Wilbur. He's the carrot grower. So he's already together. He's ready to go. He's already been in his garden. But his brother George, not so much. He's not ready. So we're going to whitewash this basket to start off with. And I'm starting off with a wet brush. I think starting off with a wet brush makes your paint glide a little better. And I'm just going to mix this up because I mixed this up a little while ago. So this is a little bit of paint and a lot of water. And we're just going to brush it right over this basket. And then we're going to add some red to it. Hi, Jessica. Welcome. So I'm just going to go over it. And then I'm going to wipe it. And I'm not doing full coverage. I'm just trying to get some color to this basket. Because if you know brothers, they always have a competition. And these two are always competing. because I have them sitting on a bench outside in the hallway here, and one of them is always falling off the bench. I got to get them on their bases. So I'm just going to go over the whole basket. And the paint is really, really watery. Can you see that? So it's just going to go right over. And then I'm going to wipe it back down. And I just have a baby wipe. And I'm just going to go right back over. Hi, Grace. How are you? And I'm not wiping. I'm more patting just to get some of the paint off, because this is a garden basket. And, you know, garden baskets get a lot of wear. So we just want a little bit. I kept telling Tony, I was like, I still don't know what I'm making. I still don't know what I'm making. So we're going to take, this is Crimson chalk, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mix a little bit of this with a lot of water and just give, hi Debbie, just give this basket a little color. Because we're doing strawberries, I chose this red. See, just a little paint. And a lot of water. Now this is way more than what we need, but I don't measure when I cook. I don't measure when I craft. Hi, Deborah. Welcome in. So this is like really, really watery. And since I don't want to wear this, I'm making sure the lids are on, because I have a bad habit of wearing my paint. So I'm just going to go right back over, just to give, just to highlight a red. And it looks like that the paint is like chipping off with it being so watery. And I'm just going, just highlighting it. Now this basket is really old, so it is really absorbing the water from this paint. So we're just going to get left with a little bit of color so that we won't have to sand it to make it look old. So we're just going to highlight it. And if it has too much in one spot, I'm just going to wipe it back off. So I'm just going to make sure that this is all the way around a little bit of red. So see, nothing spectacular. And I'm just going to dab this too. So there we go. We just have a worn looking painted basket. And we're going to set our paints away from me. Because, yeah, we don't want a total mess. And we're going to set our basket over here while we make our strawberries. So what we're using for our strawberries is I went through my stash of scraps and I picked up all kinds of red fabrics. Now this is going to be our basket liner. So I just got all kinds of reds, and I've got a whole stack of fabric over here. So the way you make these, hi Kay, is it? I'm sorry. Oh, thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. Thank you for sprinkling. So these are called balloon sizers. They come in 6 or 8 different sizes. They're Dollar Tree. And what they are is, this is like the cutting mat, but these are already cut in circles. I know, right, Debbie? So they're sold back where you buy the balloons that you blow up yourself. And what they are is you blow your balloon up inside of here so that all your balloons are exactly the same size. Now, I'm not sure why you would want them all the same size, but you know. But I use these constantly. And I don't know if you could see, they're engraved with the size. I went over with a Sharpie. This is how I'm making my circles. Now, the size that's marked on here is the inside circle, but this is another 1.5 inches. So there's 9 of these in a pack. So you actually get 18 different size circles because this is 4.5 inch, but this is 3 inch. So if you need a perfect circle and you're hand cutting them like I do, these are great. And for $1.25, it's a really nice cheap pattern. Oh, you're good, Kay. That's good. Yeah, FB's been really crazy lately. So this is the 4.5 inch circle. I started with the one that's marked 3 inches. So you cut a circle, you fold it in half. Now, I always say, you know, I am a firm believer when you're using, yeah, they're really nice. Iron, iron, iron your fabric. So this is a project you don't have to iron. And for those of you who comment that you want to make my projects, but you don't own a sewing machine, we're hand sewing this, but you can machine sew it. So you take your circle, fold it in half, and cut your circle in half. And then fold your half circle right sides together. Now, if you don't like the right side of your fabric, look at the back side, because you can, a lot of times, get a more muted color or design by using the back side of your fabric. Or you can coffee stain it. Hey, honey. So fold your circle in half, right sides together. And we're going to do a running stitch right across the flat edge. You have a curved edge and a flat edge. Hey, Jody. You know, Shelly, I don't know. That's a good question. But it seems like so many people have the very same problem. And with us living all over the country, I seem to think it's FB. But it could be the whole internet system. So I'm just going to do a small stitch. And like I said, you can do these on a machine. But these are for you, those of you who don't have machines. And you can make these a lot bigger and use them as bowl fillers. So just a running stitch, and a running stitch is just in and out. Now when I'm doing, this is like a seam, and I'm hand sewing, I do small running stitches. And then if you realize your stitches are too big, you can go back across again. But we're going to knot this off. Because if I can get, oh, Mimi, I'm sorry. Now Tony, he got the internet company to come out and check our system, and got all, well, I don't know what all they did, but since yeah, since the guy was here, we haven't had issues, knock on wood. So hopefully that fixed it. So then we're going to take our cone, is what we just made, and turn it right side out. So we have a cone. And then we're going to do a running stitch all across the top. And you want to get your running stitch as close to the edge as you can. So I am stuck. Thank you for the hearts and thumbs. Yeah, Grace, I think so too. I'm using fiberfill only because I have tons of fiberfill because I'm always stuffing, making in something. But on something like this, you can use paper shred. You can use packing peanuts that you break up. I mean, you can fill these with all kinds of things because this isn't anything that is going to be laundered. If you want weight in them, you can use aquarium gravel or pea gravel. So we did a running stitch all the way around the top, and we're going to stuff this. So many of you have told me you buy the Walmart cheap bed pillows and open them up for fiberfill. Now they're like, I was told, under $3 or about $3. So you can use that too. Or if you have an old throw pillow, open it up and use that stuffing. So I'm stuffing this tight, but you can stuff them less firm. And we're just going to pour thread, and I'm just going to keep stuffing that fiberfill down in there and close that top up. I'm wrapping this around one of my fingers, my thread, to hold that until I get it knotted. And I'm just going to put a double knot to seal this up, just to close it up. Because if not, it's going to open. So you have to hold that tight. So we're going to put a top on this. So if you don't get it totally closed up, it's good. Now, at this point, if you realize you need more fiberfill, you can just stuff it right back down into that hole. So knot this off. Now, the ones that follow me all the time know that I don't like to see thread tails on anything. So if I have a needle, I take my needle with my thread back down into my project and just come out somewhere and then cut it off wherever I come out, and that hides your thread tail. Now on this, your thread tails are not going to be seen because it's going to have a top on there. I've got all kinds of green fabrics that I pulled out. This is a green polka dotted felt. So depending on your size of strawberry, depends on your size of square. That's a big strawberry, so I got a bigger square. But you can cut these down if you make them too big. So I'm just going to fold it in half and fold it in half again until I have a little square. Where all the folds come together right there, I'm going to hold it because we're cutting the open. And all I'm doing is I'm starting at one side, and I'm just making sort of a scalloped, or maybe you can call it a heart, sort of a heart shape. Can you see that? And while I have it folded, I'm going to clip off that one little corner so that when we open this up, we have a hole in the center. So this one, and then just hold it on your strawberry to see if that needs to be bigger or not. And I put a piece of jute on a needle, and I'm going to come up through that hole that we just made in the center of our strawberry top, and I'm going to leave a little tail on the wrong side, and then cut this, because this is our stem. How big this stem is, that depends on you. So this is the right side. See that? And this is the wrong side. So both sides have a little bit of a tail. And I'm going to take black embroidery floss, one strand. I have a knot on the end, and take it down through the top and just come out somewhere. And these are going to be our seeds. So we're just putting our stitches really close together. Just making little tiny stitches to make seeds. Now I'm not sure on this one because it's a polka dot fabric, but can you see that? We're just making little tiny seeds. And did you know if you take a strawberry and you pull those little seeds out that you see, sometimes they're black, sometimes they're white, you can plant those. They'll grow. Hi, Renee. Thank you for sprinkling. Hi, Ronnie. Oh, is it your favorite color, Shelly? Yeah, I went looking through my scraps for greens and I thought, where did I ever get that print of felt at? Because I would like to have some more of it. It's more of like a flannel. So we're just going to go in and out all the way around our strawberry and do seeds. Just tiny little stitches. My favorite shade of green is the sage green. Now I'm just looking to make sure that if there's a spot that needs a seed, we're just going to hop over there and put one. So you can just keep turning your strawberry around until you got however many seeds you want. So when you think you got enough, bring your needle back up through the top. And then just clip it off. Leave a little bit of a tail. Just a little bit of a tail. So then we're going to take our glue tool and put some glue right there in that opening and push our black thread over into that. And that's going to hold our seeds from coming loose. Hi, Julie. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Julie, for sprinkling. I appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. We're going to take a little bit of glue on the back side of our strawberry top where that jute is coming through and just put a little tiny dot of glue and push that tail on the back side into it. And that's going to hold that from coming loose. And then we're just going to glue it right onto the top. So just go around however much you think you need. And where that hole is in the center, make sure that goes over that opening. And then we're just going to press it down. And then because we've already had this glued on the back side, we can pull it a little bit, just tug it so that it stands straight up. And then if you need more glue, you can just go under the petals and just put a little glue here and there. So up after me at 2 o'clock is Rustic Daisies with Renee. And then Gia, our host, Gia's Creations, is at 3. And Grace Faithful Creations, aka the Pouncy Blink Queen, is at 4. And at 5 is the Crafty Fox Creations by Tamara. And 6 is Yadi's Workshop. So we have a strawberry. So I had tiny little scraps and I made tiny little ones. Tiny ones. So because Mother Nature's not perfect, her fruit comes in all sizes and her vegetables. So we made all sizes. Now this size, which is the 4.5-inch circle on that, you could take these and make a garland out of them. You could put a wooden bead or a small wooden spool between them and make a garland. Wouldn't that be cute? But see, they all have a jute stem on them. So we're going to make one more. Let me get another. So this is just homespun that I had. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. So those of you who don't want to do stuff with fabric, oh, thank you, Brenda. And you don't own a machine, you can do this. And if you don't have fabric, you can get fat quarters, which they're normally at Walmart under $2. And a fat quarter is a 1/4 yard of fabric. So, which is 18 by 21 inches. So, see how quick that went? And I'm just going to do a knot at the end. And then open our cone up and do a running stitch. Now, on this one, I'm not cutting my thread. You're always driving, Jody. Thank you for sprinkling. And I'm going to do a running stitch all the way across the top. Now this is also, if you sew and you have spools of thread that just has a little bit of thread left, or you have bobbins, this is a great way to use that thread up. Oh, you're fine, Ronnie. You don't have to chat along with everybody else. I know this is, for most people, a work day. So I'm just doing a running stitch. So I haven't been live very much because I have been in a major flare-up. I had a yard sale a couple weeks ago. You live in your van? I had a yard sale a couple weeks ago, and it was cool out. It was a really beautiful day here in Georgia. But I don't know what happened, but I almost passed out, and I've been in a flare-up ever since. So I have not been going live very much at all. What I hate about a flare-up is the extreme fatigue that goes with it. I could sleep all night long and wake up more tired than when I went to bed. I know, Jody. When you have kids, you're more of a taxi service. I only had 2, and it seemed like my calendar was every day something. Work and then run. So we're going to pull this closed and do just a double knot, just so it doesn't come out. So if you don't have a needle and thread, you can use embroidery floss, you can use yarn, just anything to get that done. So we have a strawberry. So I need to thread another needle. This is how I buy embroidery floss. Those little ones you buy, they don't last me at all. So I buy, this is almost like a bolt. But you can get these for about $9 at Hobby Lobby. And this is tangled for some reason. How that got tangled, but we have a piece. Because our strawberry doesn't look right without seeds. Now, can you paint the seeds on? You can. You can use puff paint and put your seeds on that way. Or use a marker and put them on that way. You know, Jody, my 2 older granddaughters had absolutely no desire to get their driver's license. And my grandson that lives here in Georgia, he turned 16 last August. Still, he got his license, but he has no desire. None. So my daughter had to make the girls drive, and she's going to have to make him drive too. But he doesn't have any desire. Man, I couldn't wait to turn 16. I was driving at 15. Yep. Illegal driver here. But yeah, I couldn't wait. Of course, we lived, you know, in the boonies in Pennsylvania. So if you wanted to go anywhere, you drove or you had someone chauffeur you. And so I wanted to drive. I cannot seem to get this thing threaded. I'm having an issue today. You'll get it finished, Jody. When you have very active kids, sometimes you don't get anything else but them done. But yeah, my children, they couldn't wait to drive. I'm going to have to use a needle threader. My kids couldn't wait to drive. Of course, we lived in a tiny little town when they were growing up. But still, if you didn't drive, you didn't go anywhere. The kids are different today. Right, Jody? I couldn't wait to drive. My kids couldn't wait to drive. So let's make our seeds. Since that took so long to get that embroidery floss on there. So you can coffee stain these and make them look like they were just picked and they have a little dirt on them. You can use cinnamon. You can even put cinnamon inside your on your fiberfill, and you can scent it that way too. High maintenance. I know, Jody, you get tired. It's time for someone to start chauffeuring Mom. My granddaughters really took off driving when they got out of school and college and all of that. Yep, they started driving. Now you can't keep them home. Well, the one, she moved to Florida for her job. So, oh, it needs a seed there. So I don't know if you could see the seeds on this a little bit better than that other fabric. Aw. Well, high maintenance, Mom. Hi, Donna. We are making cloth strawberries. Now I'm coming back up through the top again, right where that gather is, and leave a little tail. And just glue that tail down. So then after you get it glued, you can trim off the excess. So we have a strawberry. We have to finish up our basket. I have a whole bunch of these cut out here. So let's get a different kind of top. Here's this one. See, I'm just using scrap fabrics. And we're just going to sort of do a heart shape. It's not exactly a heart, but well, he finished your outside for you. And while you have it folded, just snip off that corner, that little corner there. See what it makes, sort of like a little flower. And put our jute stem in there. I find it easier to thread on a big-eyed needle jute when I'm using it, because then I'm not fighting it, trying to get it to go where I want it to go. And just a little tail on the back. So this is a free group. Now this is homespun. There's no right or wrong side. This is a free group. If you're not a member, you want to join because it is a nice group of ladies. And our host does such a nice job. And she's on, Gia's Creations is on at 3 o'clock. So I hope you all will be able to hop on and off and watch all the creators today. So if you're on the Creative Crafters Ensemble page, just pull the screen down and refresh it. So we're just going to glue it on there. And then just gently tug our stem to stand. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. And just put a little glue underneath all those little petals and push it down. Now, if you have a really big top on a smaller strawberry, where every one of these petals are, you can kind of just crease it into, like, you know how sometimes your tops on your strawberries are, I call them wrinkled, but they're not exactly flat. You can do that, just like pinch it. And then you can give your top some dimension too. Can you see that? So let's push all this out of the way and go back to our basket. Oh, it's already dry. Well, most of it. Let's hit it to make sure. Get all of our fabric in there and have red paint on it. We're unplugged. So we're just going to go with it. I took a piece of fabric, folded it in fours, did a scallop. Thank you. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome. I don't think I'm following you. So Glue and Cheryl too. I'll have to go follow you. Thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. You might redo them. So I'm just going to take this and put it down in. I just took a scrap of fabric, shoved it down in there to see how big a piece of fabric I needed. And then I pulled it out and did a scallop on it. And we're just going to push that down in there. Now you can glue this in. I'm just going to fuss with it since we have time to get it all stuck in there right. Because I don't want to cover up the paint we just did. I want that to show. Oh, I definitely will. If I'm not following you already, I will go and follow you. I know trying to get that first 1,000 followers is hard. So we just put it in there. Isn't that cute? So most of the time when I'm out and about, I pick these up sometimes for 75 cents or $1. And I have a whole collection of these little baskets. I have all my little baskets in a big basket. My husband picked it up one day and said, "What are we doing with this?" I said, just put that back. So when I was at my son's, I picked Spanish moss. And I have a ton of this if anybody's interested. I washed it, cleaned it, dried it. And we're going to spread this out and make sort of a little nest down in there for all of our berries to sit in. Now this moss is, I picked this months ago and it's totally dry and it is still so soft. I can't believe the stuff that I was buying was so hard and brittle, and this is months old. So we're going to put all of our berries inside. And I have a whole bunch of little tiny ones. So these two are really nice if you're doing a doll dress, these tiny ones, and put them on ribbon and tie it around your doll's waist like a little belt. And these hang off on the front. Really nice. Really cute. So we're just going to sit these in here. I'm not gluing them. They're just going to sit in here. So this is our basket of strawberries. Oh yeah, Shelly, there is a huge strawberry farm here where you can go pick your own. Now my husband does not like strawberries, and I could live off of them. Yeah, if you're, all of you are not following. Oh, thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. So Glue and Cheryl too. If you're not following her, go give her a follow. So there's our strawberries. Let's get George back up here, and he fell over. So this is George. He's our strawberry farmer. Oh, he's going to be now. And I have, this is super heavy. It's called rug thread. It's for rug making. You can get it, oh, it's also called button thread. You can get it in fabric stores. I'm not sure about Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but you can also get it on Amazon. It is like a really heavy duty thread. Now this is what I use when I'm doing something that needs a lot of holding power. Because if I would do this with regular thread, it would break. And you need a bigger eye needle. So I have needles, so many different sizes. I think my longest needle is like 8-inch for doll making. But the bigger your needle, the bigger the eye is. So we're going to take a bunch of this. I think I would have been fired from that job. I would have ate all the profit. And I'm doubling it. So he's been painted. So his, when you're going to use regular acrylic paint to paint your dolls or whatever, if you add a little bit of fabric softener to your paint, you make fabric paint. Now, I didn't have liquid fabric softener, so I soaked a couple dryer sheets in water and thought that would work. Well, it worked a little bit because you can still squeeze him without getting any of the paint cracking, but it's not soft enough. But so I'm just going to force his hand to bend. Poor little guy is getting abused. And we're going to sew this in his hand. So, George, sit up here. Let me see if I can turn him enough to, yeah, you can see. We have to put laces in his boots yet. He's a mess. Of course, today I am too. So I just bend their hand a little bit. I bend it to see where the basket's going to fit in his hand. And that's where I start my stitch. And don't stab yourself like I just did. I am surprised that I have any fingerprints left with the glue tool, and that I don't have openings all over my hands, because I am constantly stabbing myself with these needles. And I am making a knot. Did I just freeze? Yeah. If you use, let me see if I can, like 2 tablespoons of paint, I would add a teaspoon of liquid fabric softener. Mix it together. You have fabric paint. I took a doll class one time, and that's been probably 35 years ago. And that's what she was saying, because at that time, I really got myself good. At that time, fabric paint was really expensive. And in our small little town in the boonies of Pennsylvania, you had Joann's, and that was it. So I'm just going to loop this around the basket and fold his hand again. And I'm just going to sew this in. Just a couple of loops around the basket through his hand, and it's going to make him hold this. Oh, thank you, Shelly. Yeah, his brother is a carrot farmer. He has a basket of carrots. I always like these bigger items I make. I always like to put something in their hands, whether it's a smaller version of themselves, like a baby, or a basket of something. And because this doesn't have much fabric softener, his paint is hard. Hi, Joanne. Welcome. No, I am from Pennsylvania. Uniontown is 50 miles south of Pittsburgh. I live in Middle Georgia now, not far from Atlanta. Thank you, Jody. So we are a transplant here in Georgia. We wanted away from the snow and that bitter cold for months on end. Got tired of the last winter. We got tired of shoveling snow, so we got our leaf blower out and started blowing it. Thanks, Julie. So I'm just going to do a couple stitches here. Just a couple loops through the basket, through the hand, up and over is all I'm doing. And then knot it off. And so if you paint your dolls and stuff, try adding a little bit of fabric softener to your paint, and it totally changes your the feel. Like this one, you can hear it's scratchy. It won't be scratchy. So we have that knotted, and let's move this up to the middle of the basket. Oh, we got plenty of time. Joanne, thank you for joining us. Up after me is Rustic Daisies with Renee. So you know she's going to have something really cute. Everybody today is, because, you know, strawberry picking season here in Georgia. So I'm going to take my tails and do one more knot. That way, when he's walking out of the strawberry patch, he won't drop the basket. It'll be secure in his hand. So there we go. So to cover up the thread on his hand, sit here. I'm just going to take some strips of fabric and just do sort of a bow, sort of something like a bow. Not really, because, you know, guys don't really like bows. None of my guys do anyway. So I'm just cutting maybe an 1/8 inch strip. And we're just going to wrap it around the handle and sort of tie it off on the top. Sit up there. Do y'all talk to your dolls and your stuff when you're making it? I do. So I'm just going to start this down here and just wrap it around the handle. And that's going to cover up the thread. And then we'll tie it off on the top. Not really a bow, just like, you know, just tie it off. We're going to just wrap this around. It doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, none of us is perfect. And I'm just going to cut this enough to tie it, and then go up the other side. There is this lady, younger lady, girl to me. She has 2 little boys. They're twins that live down the road. Those are the most orneriest boys. I'm looking out the window. She drives up and down this road. Now school's out. She drives up and down this road all day long, chasing them back to the yard. They take off on their bikes. And she was so mad at them the other day. She'd put one of them in the car, and he'd go out the other side. She was so mad at them that, and the one jumped on top of the car, and she just spun off. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to hit him. He fell, thank you, 10 minutes. He fell off the car. And I was like, I grabbed my phone. I'm thinking he's hurt. I'm going to call 911. He got up laughing, and she just took off, yelling, using language that I would never use with a child. She was so mad. She's out there now all day long. All day long she chases these boys up and down this road. Good thing we live on a back road. But she was ready to kill those 2 boys the other day. So I'm just wrapping this around to cover up that thread, and I'm just going to tie it in a knot. So George is ready. He's got to go back home and get his rake or his shovel because he forgot it. Because I forgot to give it to him. We're just going to tie this off and clip our tails. And there's George with his strawberry basket. He's losing his... So, wouldn't those bigger ones look cute on a garland? But see, I made tiny ones. Now that is like, started out as a 2-inch circle, then I cut it in half. So that's what that started out as. But you can make them as big as you want. Bigger ones would be really cute as bowl fillers. Putting the big one down and then putting the little ones in there. So I'm not gluing these in because he might decide that he doesn't want to be a strawberry farmer anymore and he wants to be some other kind of farmer. So then he can just empty his basket and... Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, Julie, she is. She was that day. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to call 911. He just fell off that car. He got up laughing. Yeah. But the other one, she would put in one back door and he would hop out the other side and then run around the car. Thank you. I appreciate that. And she was running around the car, and what got my attention was a car sitting in our driveway, and she was chasing these boys up and down the road, running after them. I was like, those boys need taking in hand. The first time they'd run from me or hop out the other side, yeah, they wouldn't learn to stay in the yard because they're only about 7. Thank you. Thank you. So this is George. And this is Wilbur, who's losing his carrots. I had these in a show, so he's got a price on him. But he lost his carrot. What did you do? Let's get your carrot back in your basket. There we go. We'll have to glue him back in. So he's the carrot farmer. This is Wilbur. And this is George. He's the older brother. So we have lots of time left. So sit over here I have other ones that I'm going to put flags in their hands. I've got so many ideas and so many projects going right now. If I live to be 600 years old, I'm never going to have them all done. Right? I agree, Cheryl. Thank you, Julie. So, somebody asked me about a yo-yo. Do any of you need to know how to make a yo-yo? On my YouTube page, I have a really extensive video how to do that. I just lost my sewing needle. Well, we got this one. So a sewing yo-yo, which I had a craft shop for 14 years back home, and my daughter absolutely refuses to make yo-yos because she said my kids worked the store. They were part of the family. They had to work the store because the store was the family income. So, which neither one of them liked it. My daughter liked to work in the store. My son, he thought it was totally embarrassing because there was nothing for a guy in the store. So this is a 5-inch circle. All you do is a running stitch. That's all a yo-yo is. But as you're doing it, you want to flip under that raw edge just a tiny bit. You like making yo-yos? I make yo-yos all the time. I have ADHD, so I have to have something to do all the time. I don't like downtime, and I don't like sitting still. We're going back to Pennsylvania here this summer. That's a 13-hour drive. I'm going to go crazy. So all you do is flip over that raw edge just a little bit and do a running stitch all the way around. My mom's going to be 90. So I don't know if I should have said anything. She doesn't know I'm coming home yet. So do a running stitch. 90 years old. Lives by herself, does everything for herself still. She doesn't drive anymore, but she does everything, her housework, her laundry, everything. She still does it. So you just flip it, just that raw edge, not even 1/8 of an inch, smaller than that, just enough to get that raw edge. Now the yo-yo maker that you can buy, I've lost comments. Maybe not. I've never used, but from my research on it, when you put your fabric in it, the finished yo-yo is a raw edge. Now, if you're going to make something that is potentially going to be laundered or hand washed, that raw edge on your yo-yo is going to fray. So I never know what I'm using yo-yos for. I've made these as small as a 1-inch circle. Now those are hard for me anymore to make because I don't have good hand control anymore. But this is all it is. And this is something that you can throw in a project bag. I have a knot. Thank on it. In a project bag. And so our time's almost up. Rustic Daisies with Renee's up next. And then at 3 is Gia's Creations. At 4 is Grace Faithful Creations, aka the Pouncy Bling Queen. And at 5, Crafty Fox Creations by Tamara. And 6, Yadi's Workshop. She's ending our event today. I hope that you all can go And if you're not following any of these ladies, please go follow them and follow Gia because she does a really nice job. Her page is Gia's Creation. She is our host, and I appreciate all of you being here. And I will see you over on Renee's page and watching her. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful day.